three odiot, i.e., letters, Mam, Lamed, Sadi in, the word, Selam, i.e., image. 46. And as for Hamohin, i.e., the lights, literally, brains, de Gadlut, which means a great state, adulthood, at which the lights are great, greater than in Katnut, i.e., in the small state, in childhood, then after Malhut has descended again from Bina's place to her own place, and Bina together with Tefereth and Malhut return to her step and the five vessels, Keter, Hakma, Bina, Tefereth, and Malhut, and the five lights, Nefesh, Ruah, Neshama, Hea, Yaida, made this stage perfect, as written above in N18, and it is considered as if Malhut, in fact, being the letter of Yud, who entered the light, in Hebrew, or spelled Aleph Vav Resh, and made it came out of the air, Hebrew, Avir, spelled Aleph Vav Yud Resh, again, and the air again became light, as it is written there. Then in these mokin it is necessary to distinguish between the three steps indicated by the three odiot, i.e., the letters, Mam, Lamed, and Sadi, essentially, forming the word, Selam, i.e., image. The first step is the first three spirit binas, who have found correction in the higher Ve'im according to the meaning of the verse Ki Hafetz Hayim Hu, for he desires the good of Micah 7:18, i.e., desires good for others and desires nothing for himself, can never receive the light of Hakma. Therefore it is considered that it cannot be said of them that the letter Yud comes out of their air. For the air is in fact the level of Ruah, representing the light of Hasidim, for in Aba Ve'im this light, Hasidim, is considered to be the first three spirit proper, and there is no action inherent in them, taking the letter Yud out of their air. And they are called the letter Mam Safet of the word Selam, for this letter indicates that there are four mohin, i.e., light, in them, Hakma, Bina, the right line, Da'at, and the left line, Da'at, because each mok, i.e., light, literally, brain, consists of 10 sphirat, and this Mam Safet, i.e., 40, since the letter Mam Safet as well as the letter Mam, a variety of which it is a variant, has the numerical meaning of 40, spirath. And in addition, it indicates that in order that Malhut does not receive the light of home, these mohin are closed as if in a ring, for such is the form of the letter of Mem Safet. 47. The second step is the seven lower spirit of Bina, who have found correction in parts of Yisrael Savayudvuna, for they need the light of Hakma to endow Zir Anpin and Nukva, as already discussed in N.43, and so during Gadlut, the letter Yud goes out of their air and the light Hakma returns to them to endow Zir Anpin and Nukva, but they themselves do not receive the light of Hakma, for they derive from Bina, and all Bina, from the first three to the seven lower. Spirit derives from the light of Hasidim, and all the difference between the seven lower Spirit is that they receive light of Hakma to endow Zir Anpin and Nukva. And this step is called the letter Lamed, the word Selam. For this letter indicates that there are three mokin, Hakma, Bina, Da'at, 4. Each mok, i.e., light, literally, brain, contains 10 sphirat, 30 sphirat in all. 30 is the numerical value of the letter Lamed. For the right line, Da'at, and the left line, Da'at, are here considered a single object, representing the step of the middle line, which is intended to unite Homa and Bina. 48. The third step is Zir Anpin and Nukva, in which the Hakma is revealed from Haza and below, for it is in them that the place of the revelation of the Hakma is found. And it is called, the letter, Sadi, word, Selam, after the name of the 9 spirit, which are in Zir Anpin and Nukva, for each of them consists of 10 spirit, a total of 90. 90 is the numerical value of the letter Sadi. This is the explanation of the 3 letters of Mam. Explanation of the 3 letters Mam, Lamed, and Sadi in the 3 parts of Saba Vima, Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, and Zir Anpin and Nukva, which are in the world of Atzalat, i.e., in the most common of the communities considered here, communities. But this is also the case in the most private particulars, for you will not find a stage that cannot be characterized by these 3 Binet, Mem, Lamed, Sadi, for in each of them there are Mem, Lamed, Sadi. 49. But the place of revelation of the Hakma is not in Zir Anpin, but in Malhut, and we say that Hakma is revealed from Hayes Zir Anpin and below, because that which is from Hayes Zir Anpin and below is considered a step of Malhut. Thus, Hakma is not revealed in the first 9 spirit, but only in 1 Malhut. And that is why it is called Malhut, the lowest Hakma, as written in commentary, Sulam, to the book of the Zohar on the weekly reading of Bereshit, volume 1, page 276, beginning with the words, and also, like that. The 2 steps of the raising of the Ma'in Nukvin. 50. There are 2 steps of raising the Ma'in Nukvin, i.e., prayer, literally, the waters of women. Zir Anpin, the first. Since the first 3 spirit binas, essentially representing the supreme Abu Vemu, are always located with their Auraim, i.e., buttocks, toward the Hakma, and this means that they do not want to receive the light of Hakma, but only the light of Hasidim according to the meaning of the verse Ki Hafetz Hayim Hu, for he desires good Miha, 7:18, i.e., he desires good for others and desires nothing for himself, of which has already been mentioned, and Yisrael Sava Yudvuna can receive the light of Hakma not directly from the Ari Anpin, only through Abu V'imu, as written above, in endpoint 44, it is impossible that parts of Yisrael Sava Yudvuna received the light of Hakma through Abu V'imu, and since this is the case, then Zir Anpin raises Ma'in Nukvin to parts of Yisrael Sava Yudvuna, and then the Aba vein turn there. Ahoreim away from Hakma, and the light of Hakma passes through the Abu Ve'im to the parts of Yisrael Sava Yudvan. And this awakening arises from the Bina of the direct light, attracting the glow of Hakma in the light of Hasidim for Zir Anpin of direct light, as written in Introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, endpoint 5. Therefore, the entire time that Zeir Anpin raises the Ma'in Nukvin, the Aba Vma are in a state of awakening to attract for him the light of Hakma, see below, in endpoint 83. 51. Step 2 of the raising of the Ma'in Nukvin Zeir Anpin serves to unite the two lines, right and left, found in Partsef, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, as stated above, in N.35, for when the left line of Partsef, Yisrael Sava Yutvun appears, there is a rivalry between the right and the left lines, for which reason neither shines until Zeir Anpin connects them to each other, which is essentially the middle line, and then they both shine, as it is written in the same place. 3 have arisen from one abides in 3. 52. Here it is explained that the second step of the raising of Ma'in Nukvin Zeir Anpin to Partsef, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, is meant to unite the two lines, right and left, Partsef, Yisrael Sava Yutvuna, which cannot shine otherwise than by means of the Masacha Dehirik, which is in Zeir Anpin, see above, at the end of N.39, and supplementing them with a middle line, subordinating the two Bina lines. And it is believed that in doing so in Bina, thanks to the Masa of Zeir Anpin, 3 lines appear, called Hakma, Bina, and Da'at. And there is a law that the total amount of light that shines because of the lowest in the highest, is also graced by the lowest, and therefore, since Zeir Anpin caused through his Masa the appearance of the 3 lines, Hakma, Bina, Da'at, in Partsef, Yisrael Sava Yutvun, then Zeir Anpin was also graced with the 3 lines, Hakma, Bina, Da'at. And it is written about this in the book of Zohar, on the weekly reading of Bereshit, Volume 1, N.363, 3. Emerged from one abides in 3, see what it says, see also in Or Shalom to page 39. The source of the Nukva of Zeir Anpin, i.e., Malhut. 53. At the time of Katnut of the world Nikudim, Zeir Anpin, representing Hezd, Vuru, Tiferet, Netzach, Had, Yesed Denikudim, there were 6 vessels, Hakma, Bina, Da'at, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, for as far as the lights are concerned, the small ones, called Hezd, Vura, grow first, Tefereth, Netzach, Had, Yesed, and they lack the first 3 Sphirit, and as for the vessels, the higher ones, called the high, grow first. First grow the higher ones, called Hakma, Bina, Da'at, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, and they lack the vessels of Netzach, Had, Yesed, as it says in the Introduction to the Wisdom of the Kabbalah, page 24, look it up, what is written there. And he also lacked the vessels of Netzach, Had, Yesed. And it was so because of the raising of Malhut to the place of Bina Zeir Anpin, which is the Sphira of Tefereth, as Hezd, Vura, Tefereth of Zeir Anpin are Kater, Hakma, Bina, as written above, in item 9, and we are talking about the upper. Tefereth, located, in the place of Hez, and the 2/3 of Bina, together with Tefereth and Malhut, in Zeir Anpin, called the 2/3 of Tefereth and Netzah, Had, Yesed, as it is written there, fell from the people of the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya, located under it, that is, in the worlds of Zir Anpin. Beneath Zer Anpin, of the world, Asilat. And so there is nothing left in it except the vessels of Hakma, Bina, Da'at, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, up to the point of Hazet. And the point of Hez is Malhut, completing the step at the Bina's place and relegates Bina along with Tiferet and Malhut, called Tiferet, Netzach, Had, Yesed, to the step below it, as written above, in endpoint 16, and this is the meaning of Zir Anpin and Nukva in Katnat are always called Vav Savet V'Nakuda, as the 6 vessels of Hakma, Bina, Da'at, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, enclosed in Zir Anpin, are called Vak, i.e., Vav Savet, and the point of Hez, i.e. Malhut, which completes its step, is called Nakuda, and as for the lights, among which the small ones grow first, they are called Hezd, Vura, Tiferet, Netzach, Had, Yesed, and Malhut Masayimet, i.e., Malhut, the final step, is called the point under Yesed. 54. And so Malhut became ruler over all the vessels that are in the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya, because she is the point of Haza. For this point brought out the vessels of Tefereth, Netzah, and Had, Yesed Zir Anpin to the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, and it also brought these vessels back to the step of Asilat, when the Gadlut, of the world, Nikudim appeared, before they broke. For when Gadlut returned and Malhut Mesemet descended from the place of Haza to her place, under the vessels of Netzach, Had, Yesed Zir Anpin, then the vessels of Bina, together with Tefereth and Malhut, which fell in the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya, representing Tefereth, Netzach, Had, and Yesed, have risen again into the world of Asilat. And since Zer Anpin acquired additional vessels of Tefereth, Netzah, Had, Yesed, he had the first 3 spirit of the lights, as written above, in endpoint 19, and since there is no disappearance in the spiritual, even now it is believed that Malhut remains in the place of Hez Zir Anpin, as before, but only the inherent power of the attribute of judgment and the property of completing a step down to the point of this world. And so those very vessels of Tefereth, Netzach, Had, Yesed of Zir Anpin, which were under her power during the time of Kathnat, and now the people of Tefereth, Neka, Had, Yesed of Zir Anpin, who were under her dominion at the time of Katnat, and now are united with Zir Anpin, are also united with her at the time of Gadlut, after Tefereth, Netzach, Had, and Yesed joined Zir Anpin and supplemented it. And they become its 9 lower spirit. For the point of Hez, which is the source of Malhut and belonging to her at the time of Katnat, became the Ketar, and each of the 3 vessels of Netzach, Had, Yesed Zir Anpin divided into 3/3, and 3/3 of the Netzach Zir Anpin became Hakma in Malhut. Hezd, Netzach. And 3/3 of the Had of Zir Anpin in Malhut became Bina, Vura, Had. And 3/3 of the Yesed Zir Anpin in Malhut became Da'at, Tefereth, Yesed. Thus, these vessels, Tefereth, Netzach, Had, Yesed of Zir Anpin, having risen at the time of Gadlut from the worlds of Bria, Yetzer, Asiya, having united with his stage and caused the appearance of the first three spirit of the lights in him, joined also to Malhut and became to her the 9 lower spirit of the vessels and the 9 first spirit of the lights. 55. So you have it that the source of Zir Anpin's Nukva is the Hayes point, and there was he had no shortage of it, even at the time of Katnath. And it is called by the name of Keter Hamalhut. At the same time, the vessels of Tefereth, Netzah, Hod, and Yesed Zir Anpin, which fell into the worlds of Bria and Yetzirah and Asiya at the time of Katnat and returning to the world of Aslet during Gadlut, are divided into 2 parts into Zir Anpin and Malhut, as they used the vessels of Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesed for Zir Anpin and the vessels of Hakma, Bina, Dehat, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, Netzach, Hod, Yesed for Malhut. That which is from Hayes Zir Anpin and below belongs to the Nukva. 56. And hence the law follows, which states that what is from Hayes Zir Anpin and below, i.e., the vessels of Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesed Zir Anpin, are the stage of Malhut, called detached Nukva Zir Anpin. For all the 9 lower spirit of Malhut are built from these vessels, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesed of Zir Anpin after they are joined to it during Gadlut, as has already been explained. And it is also well understood that, as we say, in Katnat Zir Anpin and Malhut are in the state of Vav Savat V Nakuda. This refers to the vessels of Hakma, Bina, Dehat, Hezd, Vura, Tefereth, and Hayes. And Zir Anpinu lacks the first 3 spirit lights due to the lack of vessels Netzach, Hod, Yesed, and Malhut lacks the first 9 spirit lights due to the lack of the 9 lower vessels. And now it is carefully explained that the source of the Nukva Zir Anpin in Katnut and Gadlut springs from the Katnut and Gadlut of the world Nikudim. And though the vessels of the world of Nikudim have broken down, they have at the same time reformed again in the world of Asalet during these 2 periods, Katnut and Gadlut, so that Zir Anpin and Malhut, of the world of Asalet in Katnut represent Vav Savat V Nakuda, just as in Katnut the 7 spirit of the world, Nikudim, for in this state, Tefereth, Netzah, Hod, Yesed Zir Anpin of the world of Asalet fall into the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, Asiya. And this Nakuda, i.e., point, is the source of Nukva. And by the time of Gadlut they return to their stage in Zir Anpin, of the world, Atsalut and supplement Zir Anpin with the vessels of Netzach, Hod, Yesed, and his Nukva, i.e., Malhut, 9 lower vessels. This means that, as already explained, in Katnut and Gadlut of the world Nikudim these vessels, Tiferet, Netzah, Hod, Yesed Zir Anpin are also from his Hayes and below, being the sources of the Gadlut Nukva. The 12 Parzufs that are in the world of Asalet. 57. Each step in which there are 3 times 10 Sphirat, i.e., 10 Sphirat Darash, 10 Sphirat Dato, and 10 Sphirat Dasaf, as stated above in Pars 5 to 6, is called Parzuf. And it is distinguished by the highest Bina available in it. if the highest bina is Qatar, then all the 30 spirits that are present in it are called by the name of Qatar. And if the highest bina is Hakma, they are all called Hakma, etc., in exactly the same way. And they constitute the 5 parzafs, because their height is measured by the zivik da'aka, i.e., the conjunction as a result of opposition, corresponding to the 5 binats available in the masa, for the zivik da'aka, corresponding to the masa of bina dalit, attracts the level of the keter, and the masa of bina Gimel attracts the level of Hakma, and Masak Bina Beth attracts the level of Bina. And Masa Bina Aleph attracts the level of Zir Anpin, and Masak Bina Shorish attracts the level of Malhut, as stated in the introduction to the Wisdom of the Kabbalah, and point 21, see what it says. 58, however, in the world of Asalat they constitute 12 partsefs, namely the 4 partsefs. The Keter, called Adik V Nukwa and Ari, Anpin V Nukwa. And also the 4 partsefs of Bin, called the highest Aba V'ima and Yisrael Sava Yutvuna. And also the 4 partsufas of Zir Anpin and Nukva, the larger Zir Anpin and Nukva and the smaller Zir Anpin and Nukva. And the reason for this division is that in every partsef of the world of Asalat, without exception, there are 2 kinds of vessels, 1, derived from the vessels that appeared in the world of Asalat at the time of Zivuhai Day Kaa, and they are called Ma vessels, 2, stemming from vessels that broke in the world of Nikudim, called vessels Boan, correcting, rising from the worlds of Bria, Yetzra, Asiya, and connecting to the levels, appearing through the Zivik Da'aka, occurring in the world of Asalat, called Ma. And the vessels of Ma are the stage of Dihar, which means man, and the vessels of Boan are the stage of Nukva, which means woman. Therefore, in every parzaf there is Dihar and Nukva. 59, and beyond this, each parzaf is divided into the first 3 and the 7 lower spirit. Therefore, there are Dahar and Nukva in the first 3 spirit of the parsef, and there are Dahar and Nukva in the 7 the lower spirit of the parsef. Therefore there are 4 partsefs in each partsef. And the 2 partsefs of the first 3 spirit Keter are called Adik V Nukva, with Adik being Ma and Nukva being Boan. The 2 partsefs of the 7 lowest spirit Keter are called Ari Anpin V Nukwa. And the Ari Anpin is Ma, and Nukva is Boan. And the 2 parzafs of the first 3 spirit Bin are called the highest Aba Vema. And the 2 partsefs of the 7 lower spirit Bin are called Yisrael Sava Yutvuna. And the 2 partsefs of the first 3 spirit of Zir Anpin and Nukva are called the greater Zir Anpin and Nukva. And the 2 partsefs of the 7 lower spirit of Zir Anpin and Nukva are called the small Zir Anpin and Nukva. 60. And the reason why we do not number the 4 parsefs in the Hakma is that the Ari Anpin is the level of the Hakma Dama, but the Hakma enclosed in him is hidden within his Keter, according to the meaning of the words, one within the other, written in the book of the Zohar for the weekly reading Ha'azinu, section, Idra Zuda, N.37. And this Hakma does not shine at all in the world of Atzilut. But the entire light of Chokmah that shines in the world of Atzilut extends from Bina, who returned to Rosh Ari Anpin and became Chokmah, as stated above, in N 44, for this Bina has clothed herself with partsefs, Aba Bime in Yisrael Sava Yuvuna, and Aba Bime is considered a Chokmah of the right line. And Yisrael Sava Yudvuna are considered Chokmah of the left line, as written above, in N 41. Therefore, we count for parts of not in Chokmah, but only in Bina, which is also the China Chokmah that shines in Zir Anpin and Malhut in all the worlds.